Welcome everyone. Good evening. I'm Tiffany Hall here from Aesthetic Record, and thank you for joining our webinar tonight about Medspa growth systems for simple habits and sustainable results, which is really what we're about today. And it's a great time for us to talk about this because we're in Q4 and everyone feels like they're doing a million things all day long, every day. I can relate to this totally. And we're not really moving forward. We feel like we're doing a lot, but we're kind of stuck in place, not moving forward. So today is all about simple habits, simple manageable things that you can do to compound your growth, move the practice forward, and show up online consistently for bookings, for leads, to make a big difference in your practice, a big impact for you financially, but also just the way that you show up for the public as they look at your practice and want to come be part of your world. So we have with us today a real expert, my friend here, Michael Antosi, who is from My Advice. He is the Director of Sales and Business Development, a practice consultant, a guru of all things digital media and marketing, and he's here with us today to take us through how to do these simple habits, these small things, not big budget, not big marketing budgets, not big ad, but small things that make a huge difference for the practice. So welcome to the webinar.
Thank you so much. You said something that really resonated with me. You said compounding growth. And that's exactly it when it comes to the secret sauce with your digital marketing strategy. It's not overspending or buying a bunch of ads or thinking I got to post all the time or boost these posts or whatever. It's about measurable, sustainable, consistent results. You know, I meet with hundreds of Medspa practice owners yearly, and I can tell you the practices that are winning the revenue game, they're not looking at their marketing as a sprint. They see it as a marathon that they're consistently nurturing. As a matter of fact, I actually had the pleasure of meeting a practice that is using us for their lead generation digital marketing, but they're also using Aesthetic Record for a lot of their lead management. And their practice is thriving. And in talking to one of the owners there, they were saying, you know what? It took us a long time to start to develop this system of lead generation as well as lead nurturing and conversion. But now that we have these systems in place, it's allowing us, giving us the freedom to actually put our attention back into patient care, which is what we always wanted to do from the beginning to start with. And so what we're going to unpack here today during this webinar session, you know, there's so much that AI is really influencing the online landscape. And marketing is no longer about silos, it's about developing systems and having a systematic and consistent approach to really driving your online visibility and conversions. We're going to talk a little bit more about that today and how you can really be optimized and best positioned to develop that for your practice.
Well, just as my 2 cents here as you're moving over, you say AI, you say systems, it sounds hard. I'm looking like that sounds hard, but I know that you've made it very sort of bite-sized or digestible. People start this whole process and they're looking at it like me, like, oh my God, where do we start? What are the things that get in their way or that you feel like are sort of the moments for your practice owners?
I think that the one thing that gets in their way is that they treat their marketing as silos. And what I really mean by that is that, oh, I'm gonna develop my website over here, and then I'm gonna get my social media person over here, and then, oh gosh, maybe I'll throw a little bit of ads on, you know, paid money at some social media ads. But the problem is, Tiffany, is that none of these things are actually speaking to one another. So imagine this, you know, imagine me coming to see you as a patient and I said, hey, make me look better, either if it's through lasers or injectables or whatever. But then I say to you, you know, I also party my face off and I smoke. And I drink.
You're in the sun.
And I'm in the sun all the time, and I eat like crap, and I don't exercise. And like, you guys have seen patients like this before, and you're probably thinking to yourself like, oh my God, my name is not Jesus Christ. You know, I'm not a miracle worker. Patients that do well, they're optimizing the results because they bring the right foundation in place, right? So what we're gonna talk about is really just getting back to the foundation, consistency, making sure your website's converting well, making sure that you're generating reviews well, that you're managing what we call your local listings. All of these are part of what we call developing the flywheel, because your marketing also is compounded. The results of your marketing build upon themselves. That's what we say, it's a process, it's not an event. A lot of practice owners, they just get confused with it because there's not a system in place that can help to manage all of these different things. And that's one of the things that we do at My Advice, is we help to give structure and a system to managing all facets of your online presence and digital strategy.
Like you said, doing a lot of things and not moving forward. I love this. Okay, let's do it. I'm ready.
Well, how that really starts is how we develop this is we have what we call our AI-powered success center. Imagine going to like a symphony, and if you went to a symphony and you're going to see the orchestra play, and you paid a lot of good money to go there, but like there's no conductor, right? And what ends up happening then? everyone's just kind of playing their own instrument. They're doing it the way that they feel like it's going to be most necessary, but nothing is in synergy. Nothing is harmonized. And when we talk about developing a strategy, strategy is consistency plus systems that equals results. And that's really what the My Advice Success Center is and what that's all about and how it can really help to achieve what we call profitable growth. What does profitable growth mean? It means that are you generating more opportunities for getting more exposure for your practice? Is your digital presence then converting more of those opportunities into leads? And are you doing it without adding cost? Are you doing it without adding overhead? And what we've done with My Advice is we've developed a lot of artificial intelligence that can help to nurture and drive more performance metrics in visibility for your practice without you actually having to be there to do it or having to hire staff to be able to do that for you. But again, the Success Center helps to manage all facets of your strategy in terms of developing your website, AI chats, social media, search optimization, but also being able to then understand what is the return on investment with every layer of marketing that I'm doing for my practice. You know, so many practice owners that I talk to, they just have no way of being able to measure what their ROI is or how is it generating more opportunities for my practice. And they feel stuck. They feel like, you know, I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm not really empowered. We want to give that power back to you, and we use technology in order to be able to do that. Now, there's a lot of different spokes that you can see here in terms of really how you can drive success. So a lot of what you're looking at is what does day one success actually look like for you as a practice? Now, what I will tell you though, it all does start meaningfully with your website. You have to have a great website because patients make decisions about your practice in terms of if they're going to go to you within 2.9 seconds. And that decision is, am I going to stay or am I going to leave? And guess what? If they leave your website, they don't convert. The website's main job is to be able to generate leads and to make your practice money. Now,
can you say that one more time? I think people don't think about that.
Yeah.
The main goal of the website is to convert leads
and
make
make money. This is what we're talking about. I talk to so many practice owners, and they're so concerned over like, oh, where am I ranking on Google? Am I number 1 or am I number 10? Or oh, this page was the best page of my website. Is it making you money? Is it actually driving revenue into your practice? And so, what we try to demystify is let's get away from the vanity metrics, folks. Let's talk about what matters most, which is how is your online presence helping to drive more revenue? Now, the website, as I mentioned to you, it has to convert efficiently. Now, I pulled out a few different websites here just to kind of give everybody a bit of a flavor. You can have the most beautiful website in the world, but if it's not making your phone ring, it's not doing the job for you in the way that it should. When I look at a website like this, number one, this is a Wix website, guys, and you should never, ever, ever build your website on Wix.
Never, ever, ever do it. Ever.
Why is that? It's a proprietary platform, and one of the biggest downsides of a Wix website, and I know a lot of you probably have Wix websites, is that it's not mobile responsive. And search engines, they want to see a responsive framework with your website. It should be optimized for mobile. It should be optimized for tablets, widescreen desktop monitors. With a Wix website, what you can see here is as I start to consolidate the browser's window down, nothing is really staying within the frame. Things start to get cut off. And that's not a good user experience. How that hurts search engines is that it becomes much more difficult for a search engine to be able to crawl and index your website's information. So you always want to make sure that your website, it doesn't matter if I'm on a widescreen desktop monitor like this, if I'm consolidating this down onto a tablet, or various versions of smartphone views, that it's always going to be fully optimized. Almost think about like having an accordion. Now, additively though to that though, the conversion aspects of your website need to be very, very clear. All the calls to actions, phone number is easily identifiable. There's form fills on all of your pages to your website. When you look at a website like this, phone number is listed up here at the top, but the moment that we start to scroll down,
it's gone.
It's gone. And imagine being a patient. You guys know this better than what I do. It takes patients a long time to make any type of aesthetic choice. If it's neuromodulators, lasers, what have you, they can sit on that decision for months. But by the time we've made that decision, we're ready to invest into that, it's like we wanted that thing yesterday already.
Yep.
So there's always a sense of urgency as to how patients land on your website. So you do not want to introduce more friction in the lead generation process. People don't want to land on a website and be like, well, gosh, this looks like a great practice for me to go to. Where's the phone number? How do I get in touch with them? So that phone number, that main call to action, always, always, always needs to be front and center on their eye line. When we say go to internal pages of the website, let's just say if I go to this page here about Daxify, notice I'm scrolling down, the phone number is still there. Oh, what can I also do here too? I can schedule a consultation. I can submit my information through this website as opposed to having to go find a contact form. Tiffany, you'd be surprised to understand this. Contact forms convert at a higher rate than a phone call.
I agree with that. Because
So
there's like a workflow. People can actually see it and move it through a process.
Absolutely. So like, if you want better quality patients into your door, you want to make sure that you have form fills on every single page of your website, because that's really where a lot of better lead generation will actually come from. Now, what we have found is one of the newest things that you need to be thinking about into your website is integrating AI chat. Tiffany, for practices that do not have this, if you do not have AI chat on your website, you are leaking revenue as we speak. And think about it from this perspective. If I'm a new patient considering any type of aesthetic service, am I likely to do that homework between the hours of 9 to 5?
No.
No.
If you can afford it, you can't take the time off to go do the research.
100%, right? And plus, I've got a life. I got to go pick up my kids from school. I got to go do soccer after school, whatever that might be. We all live very, very busy lives. We're doing that homework between the hours of, say, 5 p.m. to even 1 a.m.
Absolutely.
Right? But what happens? That's when your practice is closed. That's when there's no one available. So who is there to actually engage with these leads when your practice is shut down? The answer is no one, unless you actually have AI chat. I'm not talking about a bot, by the way, guys. I'm talking about almost like having a chat GPT that sits on your website that understands everything about your practice as it relates to the information and the content that lives on the pages. And we'll get to why that's important with what we call search optimization a little bit later. But hey, how can I help you? Maybe I'm going to say here, what do you offer for PRP? So when I ask the chat this question here, it's going to be able to understand and index that information from the content that's living on these pages here and say, hey, we offer PRP for thinning hair loss, early stage hair loss, weak hair follicles, or those seeking to enhance hair transplant results. Notice it's not talking about PRP for pain management, right?
They don't do that, right?
They don't do that.
Yeah.
So the AI is able to understand, how it can talk intelligently about your practice. But here's why you want to have this on your website. The average conversion from inquiring to consultation, when there is engagement of that lead within the first 30 minutes of time, the average conversion rate is around 78%. Guess what happens at minute 30? What that conversion rate drops down to? 34%. The conversion rate drops by half. So what does that need to tell you? Is that we need to engage leads the moment that they come in. Because if not, they're just much more likely to go to our competitor that's down the street. So again, the practices that are winning the revenue game are the ones that are winning the lead efficiency in terms of how they're following up.
When I think if you look at your effort that you're spending, I mean, to me, this is so compelling. I love AI. I'm all about the AI game. But we know this works. Like, I think you're asked to spend money in all these places. You know this. You're asked to do a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit of this. And all of it, there's just so much, it's so overwhelming. If I have to spend 15 minutes, like, fixing the problem, like what I'm hearing you say is like, this is a great place to invest some time. Like get a bot, or no, I shouldn't say bot, get an AI agent, train
Yes.
it, make it learn my way of doing things. Like this is a place to spend money. Because I think we do a lot of things as business owners, business leaders that we don't know if they work or not, but we've been told we should do them. We've heard we should do them, but we don't know if they actually work. What I think you're saying here is like, we know this thing works, go spend time there.
So to that point, let me show you this case study that we actually pulled out. What we found is that for our practices that are using AI chat agents on their website, on average, they're seeing a 35% increase with more lead flow without spending $1 more from website visits. This is actually a case study that we pulled for one of our practices. This is Dr. Martha Stewart, and I know what you're going to say.
Is she real?
It's not Home and Gardens. This is not the gal that has a collaboration with Snoop Dogg. This is a dermatology practice in Louisiana. Very word of mouth, very sustainable driven. And by the way, I know that we all love word of mouth patients, but that's also not a growth strategy, right? You have no control over that. What we're talking about is investing into systems that will give you back your control and your agency. Anyway, this practice, very word of mouth driven, comfortable with that, but adding in some services, adding in some staff, knew that her marketing needed to change. One of the first things that we had implemented was our AI chat tool. And you can see that this is her chart of leads over the course of time. She was averaging around 25 website leads on a monthly basis. The moment that we turned on that chat, leads shot up to over 80 just within that 1 month. So that with that increase, about 66 new leads just from the AI chat agent, and here's the kicker. It wasn't just more increase of lead flow. 55 of those 66 had actually converted into booked appointments. This is real revenue. So again, it's about being smarter with your approach. It's not just about doing more for the sake of doing more. Do you have a guided direction in terms of how specific you're being with the efficiency of your marketing strategy?
Super impressive. By the way, these chat agents, you can really kind of set them once. I mean, you have to tweak them, obviously, but it doesn't require so much ongoing effort. Where I think a marketing campaign, ads, Facebook lists, all those things, they take like constant sort of management and tweaking. This is like do it once really, really well, and then kind of let it cook, if they, as they say.
Absolutely right. It's not having to expend more effort when you have the right systems in place that are going to support you. This is really the tech stack at work. This is our AI-powered success center that really helps understand and measure every aspect of your marketing. So imagine, being able to spend, a Thursday night, 8 o'clock at night, you have a glass of wine, maybe you're kicking back. Hey, how many leads has my website generated? Do we even know those metrics? Do we know how we're converting? How many of these leads do we actually attempt to reach out to? Understanding who was converted. Even understanding what is the revenue potential of these leads and what we call their lifetime value. Tiffany, you might not know this or not, but the lifetime value of one Medspa patient for a practice between 10 to 15 years, any idea how much that's worth?
No, 60, 70, I don't know.
$57,000.
Okay. I was
You were
close to
pretty
60.
close. Yeah, really good. So think about it from this perspective. You're spending $1,000 on your marketing to, say, develop $57,000 of future revenue into your practice. That's a 57x ROI,
That's crazy.
right? Can be crazy when you have the right systems in place and understand how you can actually manage that. Now, the website, very, very important. We spent some time talking about this, but it's also just the commodity. The real effort is how are we going to nurture our ongoing visibility? So, depending upon what day one success looks like for you, that could be different. Some folks were going to be wanting to invest into an aggressive ad campaign. That's fine. Maybe if it's search optimization and content strategies, that's also fine too. Generally, where we tell practices that where you might want to start off looking at first is what we call your local search. And I know that you're a big proponent about this as well too.
I'm a huge fan of this, huge fan.
So let's talk about what local search actually means. Local search means I'm going to go to a search engine like a Google, like a ChatGPT, and I just want to figure out who's doing something around me. That can mean Daxify near me. That can mean Morpheus 8, Irving, Texas, where we're at right now. Those are both examples of what we would call a local search. Now, search engines, when it comes to these near me searches, they're looking at really two main things. They're looking at what we call consistency of listings, as well as consistency of Google reviews. What's the operative word that I just said there? Consistency. It's about starting to build that flywheel, build that momentum. And this is actually a screenshot that I took directly from Google. So what I'm sharing with you, this is not a secret sauce, this is not a magic bullet, this is coming directly from the horse's mouth. Understanding factors to determine local ranking, how Google defines relevance, is to help Google better understand your business and to match it for relevant searches, provide complete and detailed business information. What this means is, again, the consistency of your business data among what we call local directories. So local directories, just to kind of simplify this, you can kind of think about them as being like mini search engines. There's over 60 of them as well as 15 applications. And so when these near me searches are being done, what a search engine like Google or a ChatGPT is going to do is they want to understand the consistency of your name, your address, and your phone number among these different profiles. And by the way, 90% of practices that I talk to have some form of listing inaccuracy. So this is a very, very, very common problem, but it's a foundational fix that if you're not addressing this, every dollar that you're spending on your marketing is not being met to its full efficiency.
Let me just say here, we just moved, and this is so important. If you have
Totally.
moved locations, I mean, we had to go outside and film our street name for Google. They have a whole new process now, but this listings game, if you have moved your location, or even in the last few years, it's like when you change your last name. There's a little bit of that kind of everywhere in the world. You have to think about this as so important. If not, patients go to the wrong place.
Totally.
Google can't find you. The Uber goes the wrong place. Like it's a colossal concern that I think we undervalue how important it is to have the right address everywhere.
Yeah, imagine a patient just like, okay, I'm going to get direction request to your practice's location, and then they go to the old address, or they go to a place that maybe you used to work at a hospital and you're no longer there. I mean, that happens
deal.
all the time, and imagine what that's costing you, not only just in terms of converting that revenue, but that bad experience that you're giving that patient that then thinks that you're not really a trustworthy business. It's a very common thing. You need systems that are going to be able to help to automate this and to correct this for you. So this is something that we do at My Advice. I know that you guys also do at Aesthetic Record, is you help to manage what we call these listings. One of the things that we do is we have a system that's called Local Power that's within our technology. Oops, this is the wrong one. Let me bring this up here again.
So many screens.
So many screens here, I know.
It takes a village, as they say.
But imagine then being able to then understand, okay, guys, well, like, show me with what my accuracy score is. I know that all these listings are out there, but how many of these am I actually accurate on by having a process in place that's going to be able to correct this? As a function of that, then being able to understand how much call volume is coming in just because I'm aligning listings well. How much website traffic am I actually generating? How many direction requests are patients coming to my practice just because I'm much more findable? Again, these are real results that help you to understand performance of your marketing strategy. Then being able to look at some charts like this and understanding, all right, well, show me my Google between, say, search versus maps. How am I increasing or decreasing my visibility of these platforms over the course of time? Funny enough, when I look at a chart like this particular practice is getting more Google Maps visibility than search visibility. So people don't often think about how Google Maps is also a local way of finding businesses. Being able to understand different metrics in terms of website traffic or call volume or direction requests on a week-to-week basis. Understanding these metrics can then help to inform maybe staffing decisions. Maybe it helps to inform when you're scheduling patients, how you can best optimize your schedule so that way you're really squeezing as much revenue from your availability as you can. So many practice owners are just not operating by understanding some of these things, and that's what we, within our platform, really help to demystify and bring to light. Now, what I can also tell you is that when you start to align listings well, this is not just about vanity metrics, these are actual real results. Any marketing company, if they're promising you, say, patients, let me just tell you, they're lying to you, okay? No marketing company can deliver those types of vanity promises, but what they can help you to understand is what do performance metrics say based around the data that they're actually collecting. Since we've been established since 1998, we have a trove of data. And what I can tell you is that this is a case study that we had profiled looking at over 200 of our practices that we actively do this for, Medspa practices. Some folks were in a really poor state of inaccuracy, others were better, some were doing more to supplement their marketing, some were doing less. Bottom line though is that within a 2-month period, what we're finding is that an average practice is seeing a 23% increase of more views of their practice on search, a 22% increase with more direction requests to your practice's location, an 18% increase with more website traffic, an 11% increase with more inbound phone call volume. Now imagine all of these things that you're doing to improve visibility, and now you have better AI systems that are working to then engage those leads for you. It's driving much more efficiency without you having to spend more money on your marketing.
And literally, you just fix your listings to get to this. I mean, it sounds so simple. On the back end, I know just personally, it's the whole algorithm, there's a lot going on the back end, but just to be able to say, here's my updated information, push this out to all 60 of these sites, the 15 application sites, and this will happen for me. That's pretty remarkable.
This is like day one success.
Yeah,
this is something that we do literally within 24 hours of a client signing with us.
The next day you look at your...
very next day. It's not like
That's good.
This takes time to do, this takes time. No, absolutely not. Now, part 2 of local search is consistency with reviews. So Tiffany, I want you to take a look at this slide here. I pulled out 3 different Google business profiles here.
Okay.
Can you tell me, just based on what you're seeing here, what's missing from this? So let me tell you guys.
I don't really know.
So when we talk about Google reviews and how Google reviews really drive your search optimization, there's 4 things that you want to think about. You want to have a high rating, Generally speaking, you want to be at around a 4.8 to a 4.9. There is actually some logic that if you're a 5.0, it's like, well, what are you doing to, it's not really real. So you want to be slightly below perfect. You want to be very consistent with how you're generating reviews. Again, I'm going to use that word consistency and having a system to develop that. You want to have a good volume, but you also want to be engaging with your reviews. You want to be acknowledging the reviews, saying thank you to them. All these profiles that you're seeing here have a great rating. They seem to have decent volume. But the part that's missing here is that there's no responding whatsoever. And why do we want to do this? Because when you're responding to your reviews, this is a part of the search algorithm that helps to drive more visibility for your practice online. As a matter of fact, I went to Google here, as well as ChatGPT, just so you know, I did my homework. I double-checked my resources. I simply asked the question, does responding to Google reviews improve your search engine optimization? Both Google as well as ChatGPT have indicated that's a resounding yes. However, we get so bogged down in the day-to-day, right? It's like, especially when you're a single provider practice owner, you know, you're not just providing services, you're also thinking about, yeah, I gotta pay my rent, my landlord, gotta get payroll done, I gotta reorder and restock, whatever that might be. Oh, I gotta go pick up my kids. Oh, I gotta go spend some more of my days at the hospital. There's only so much time that you have to actually manage these things to do. But we also know that this is a very foundational and important component to driving your online presence. So how do we help to solve that problem within our platform? This is where AI can come in to help to give you your time back without you having to expend much more effort. In addition to being able to utilize the system to be able to generate more reviews, what we've done within our platform is we have actually trained in AI, our language learning model, to automatically script a response for your practice the moment that a Google review has been facilitated. Now again, if we know that this is going to help you with driving more visibility, but you don't have to spend time actually doing this, would that not be a huge win for you? Giving you more of your time back? 100%. So a review comes in here. I've been a patient of Dr. Rubio for 10 years. She's always done such great work that all my friends were quite surprised when they found out I had Botox done. And the review keeps on going and going and going here. So what does the AI understand? It's appreciative. It's also suggestive. Overall, it's a positive review. So what the AI is going to do, which is what we call Maya, is it's going to generate a HIPAA-compliant response. Now, for those of you who are responding to reviews, I know you want to keep a great relationship with all of your patients and you want your response to be very heartfelt and warm. But here's the thing. Acknowledging the patient's name just because they say their name on the review does not mean that you in turn say their name back within the response. We have trained our AI to script a HIPAA-compliant response, removing the patient's name, removing any acknowledgement of the service or the procedure that they had done. Now, this is a demo tool, so I'm actually telling the AI to fire this off. In practice, this is already done for our clients. So the moment the review comes in, AI automatically gets to work, scripts the response here. You can see it's very, very specific. It even has a little heart emoji that you can see here at the end, which is pretty cool. If I like this, great. All I do is point, click, and send, and your job is done. You're not having to think about, oh gosh, what do I have to say, or do I have to do it in a HIPAA-compliant way that's not going to get me in trouble? Let the AI do that heavy lifting here for you.
And the average person who does a review for you, they don't really care about the response. Like, for the human that's involved in this, like if I write a review like, oh, Michael's wonderful, I'm not sitting around waiting like, what's he going to say next? Like, no one's doing that.
Michael's not that important to be
So as long as you acknowledge the fact that I did it, because you asked me to, I did it. You said thank you for doing it.
Yes.
I'm satisfied. I don't need some like long diatribe about how wonderful it is that I came to your practice. So I think we do get caught up in the fact that she's personal. You know, oh, I love her. She's so great. But she's not sitting around waiting with bated breath for your review to come through and you to respond back. Like, she just needs it to say, thank you, I acknowledge it. So I think as long as it sounds good, it's nice, it's a bit personal. But I love the fact when they're bad and they respond, because I want to see how you react when the situation is not so great. That to me is like where you earn your medal. And so I think getting in a habit of responding all the time, it's just like a normal thing you do. You don't have to you don't get so punched in the gut when you get a bad review. It's like, I respond, I move on. I respond, I move on.
Yeah, and like I said before too, like a 4.8 to a 4.9 implies that there is going to be a bad review here or there. That's not necessarily a bad thing, okay? Patients, they want excellence. They're not looking for perfection. Nothing is perfect in today's age. And so don't let that kind of beat you up when that does. But it will happen, though.
And you address it in a way that's helpful, and you move on. But I think people who read that and say, "Gosh, he acknowledged it. He had an option for the patient to come back in and get retreated. I like how he handled it. I'm okay with that," and I move on.
And by the way, I know we're a little bit more limited in our time, but our AI, if a negative review does come in, it can actually create a thoughtful response in addition to, it will acknowledge a bad review as well, too, in terms of a thoughtful response. Again, why do we do this, though? Because we know through the data it's going to help to increase more performance metrics and obviously convert more revenue. This is actually one of our clients, and just in terms of using a system to not only just generate reviews more consistently, but then having AI be able to then respond and engage with reviews. These are metrics that we're looking at from year 1 to year 2. We saw that just through that system, that process in place, all things else being equal, this practice saw a 13% increase with more unique visitors to their website, a 38% increase with more conversions. This is where we're talking about, which is again, revenue. Imagine being able to create 38% more revenue just because of increasing more reviews and responding to those reviews in a thoughtful way. Website traffic increases. And so again, we understand the AI is telling us, respond to reviews, engage with reviews, generate more of them. These are the performance metrics in terms of how that can help you to drive much more profitable growth. Now, the other aspect of this then, when we start to talk about more foundational components, this is an area where I know all of you will love, that you probably have a lot of great, this is your wheelhouse, is social media, right? Everyone, especially if maybe you might be newer to your practice, and budget might be a little bit more limited. This is one of the things that we can do because it's effectively free marketing. But what you might not also understand as well too is that posting consistently on social media also supports, it doesn't directly influence, but it supports a lot of the search engine optimization efforts that your strategy needs to perform to drive more exposure for your practice. Again, being intellectually honest, I asked Google as well as ChatGPT, does posting consistently on social media support SEO? Both replied with an affirmative yes. The challenge that we find, though, that a lot of practice owners have is that, again, it's lacking the time. It's lacking, it's not knowing what to post, or they might be posting some really good content, but it's only maybe being done like once a week or once every other week. And the reality is that these algorithms within Facebook as well as Instagram, they reward consistency. Again, I'm going to use that word again. It's having a system that drives consistency. The reality is that if you are not posting at minimum every other day, you're just not simply feeding the algorithms and showing that you're a platform that has you have a profile that has worthy content. So what we offer is another component to our strategy, which is what we call social power. Now, Tiffany, I'll tell you, just being intellectually honest, in the realm of good, better, best, this is good social media. The best social media content, always going to come from the provider. Why? Because it's original, it's unique, it is completely exclusive to your practice. That type of content is always going to generate very, very high engagement. But again, to feed these algorithms, if you're not posting at minimum every other day, you're not supporting your own efforts, which means that you're spending a lot of effort, not seeing a lot of good return on investment come back in. So what we do within this platform is we curate medical spa content to go out 4 days a week, both on Facebook as well as Instagram. And the content that we create is all based around the services that you might offer at your practice. And so let's just say if I want to see some content on Botox, maybe CO2 laser, maybe microneedling, you're really not limited with the post types that you can choose from. But based around that, then that's what we then support and put into your feed. With this content, what we also do too is we pre-publish this content to go out 2 months early. So based around all of that information, then it gives you more than ample time to see the content, modify it, give it more of your own flavor and spin before it actually goes out. Let's take a look at this post here, and I'm going to create this post and have this go out tomorrow so that way you all can see this. So when I hit my post library right over here and go to my publishing tab, this is where all of your content will live for the next 2 months between both Facebook as well as Instagram, okay? So if I go down here, here's my pretty blonde lady. So by the time that you land here, 90% of this work is already done for you. The text has already been created, the image has already been selected, it's already been pre-scheduled to go out at a certain time. Maybe what you're trying to do though is give this more of your own flavor and spin. So can I delete this content and write in my own? Sure, I could do that, but who wants to do that when we could just have AI do it for us as well too? So rather than this process of, going to ChatGPT and copying and pasting and bringing it back over, you're now starting to develop all of your content within the system that learns your behavior, right? So maybe I'm gonna tell this, write a funny post about Botox for a 20 to 40-year-old female, if I could type here, demographic in Irving, Texas.
You're brave. I try not to ever type. I'm always like, not doing so good.
So here's the prompt that I'm going to give the AI. I'm just going to tell it to generate that post here for me. Now again, this is a demo tool. The thing with this in practice with AI is that the language learning model starts to learn your tone, learn your vernacular, learn how you actually speak. This is taking this from a pretty benign source here, but why did the wrinkle cross the road to get to the Botox clinic, of course? Ladies of Irving, Texas, if you're tired of your forehead looking like a crumpled map, it's time to smooth things over. Botox, because who needs a time machine when you can have a syringe? I mean, it's a pretty sassy AI, if I would say so myself.
I like it.
So hey, if we like this, then great. This is what we're then going to have the AI then create. If we didn't like this image, no big deal. Just X this image out. You can add in your own if you wanted to do that. The other cool thing about this as well too is that you can also use this platform to pre-schedule your own content, the one that I know that you're so used to really being able to cultivate and work for your practice. Imagine a system though where you're not having to create the content and then post it, create the content and post it. What you do is you create your content all within one sitting and you then pre-schedule it all to go out at the same time. So within our platform here, it could be a post, it could be a reel, it could be a story, whatever that might be. I'm just gonna type in some text here. If I wanted to, I can preload some images into the library here. I can pull something over from my desktop computer, no big deal. This is me and my wife Chelsea and our little boy Jude. And so once I've created this post, hey, it's already over here for the next 2 months and I don't even have to worry about doing this again. So it's working to give you more of your time back so that way you can start to invest your time into other profitable resources that are going to help to make your practice much more powerful. And that's where, again, we start to use these systems in place to give you more of your time back.
What I love about this is you said it's not the best, but it's good. The best is that it gets posted. I mean, like for me, if it can't be an amazing Ferrari every time, no one has that kind of time, but what you're saying is it's good enough. And you just say consistency is what Google loves and cares about. You get something out that's good enough so that you satisfy the consistency check mark with Google, and it's a win-win for everybody. I save time, I have good content out, SEO is better. Why wouldn't you? I mean, it's great.
A lot of practices when I talk about their social media though, they're like, well, it's not my brand, but yet they're only posting like once a week, right? Do not let perfection become the enemy of good.
That's progress,
Because again, we have to keep in mind consistent results. The success of your strategy, going back to that practice that I was talking about at the beginning of our conversation, it's not that they were treating their marketing as sprints. They were doing consistent, sustainable results week after week, month after month, quarter after quarter to drive that success. So we've just covered a lot of our foundation.
This is a good part. I'm cheating. I can see what's next. This is a great part.
So we're now going to be talking about, what we've just talked about here today is a lot of the foundation of your local search. We're now going to talk a little bit more about what content search is. So content search is a little bit different. It's not like Botox near me or Morpheus 8 in Irving, Texas. It's more about the questions that we now go to these AI platforms to be able to ask and give us answers. The thing about AI search, Tiffany, and how this is really disrupting search behavior with patients online is that we're not doing as much of this doom scrolling anymore. It's not like we do a search and then we're just like looking at the buffet of options. What AI is doing is it's telling us directly, these are the best resources for us to go to. Now, if you've done a search recently, specifically on Google, you might have come across what Google is now promoting heavily, which is what we call its AI overview. I happen to live outside of Philadelphia, so at the time that I did this, I was just asking who is the best Botox injector in Philadelphia. Now, the thing about these AI overviews, and this is where you want to start to be very strategic and think about how you're spending money. I've seen these AI overviews more often than not be the very first thing that's coming on a Google search, which means, and listen up everybody, this is coming before an ad campaign. So if you think about the dollars that you're spending, this is where you really want to think about how I can be best positioned to drive visibility here for my practice. Now, this also applies to other platforms as well too, like ChatGPT. We're no longer calling it search engine optimization. We're just simply calling it search optimization because frankly, search is anywhere I can find a search bar. If it's through Google, if it's through AI. So the fact of the matter is, how am I positioning my website to really, or my practice to be recommended within AI searches? And the answer to this is that it's all about content. Content has always been king, and it will continue to dominate and to be a very rich resource in terms of how you're going to drive these AI searches. For example, and just to kind of give us a bit of a placeholder here, if you look at a website like this, looks very good, right? But the content is very, very minimal. Like there's not really any descriptions in terms of what these things are or what's involved in, say, like lip blush or a fibroblast or whatever that might be. So search engines have a favorite website, specifically with Google. And if you know anything about this, I'll give you 3 hints. It's not Google or any Google affiliate website. It's not a shopping site like an Amazon, nor is it a social media site like a Facebook or an Instagram. But regardless of whatever you search, you always tend to find that one subject's Wikipedia page.
Wikipedia is the golden, all the answers. That's one.
All the answers. So the reason why Wikipedia is so sought after is because of the information and the content, right? It's just constantly being added to. And so when you're thinking about how do I really, get my practice to appear within these AI-driven searches, it's all about adding more rich content, more rich content, more rich content into the website. Now, what Google has done in specifically responding to AI is that it had a new update to its algorithm, which is what's called the helpful content update. And just to kind of, spell this out, with the helpful content update, it's all about, can I learn about a particular service or procedure, or can I learn something about a subject matter that I can't find anywhere else? So the way that you want to think about your website is how to be like the Wikipedia of Medspa or aesthetic medicine in your local town or your city. So it's about getting away and stop thinking about keywords. No, my keywords. Are you actually creating content for people? Are you writing content in a more common vernacular way? So that's one of the big shifts that Google is now making, is that it's really looking for the colloquialism, if you will, of content. The other aspect of the helpful content update, and this is also a really big one as well too, is that if you have really strong pages of content on some areas of your website, but inferior pages elsewhere, the inferior pages are going to hurt the visibility for the main things that you're really trying to drive visibility for. So Google used to look at websites on a page basis. It's no longer doing that. It's really looking at a holistic strategy. So how do you compete? How do you keep your strategy to really stay in alignment with this new AI jungle that we're now living in? And it boils down to a very simple acronym, which I'm going to spell out here for you, which is called How Are You Eating? EEAT. And what these stand for are experience, expertise, authoritativeness, as well as trustworthiness. So when we talk about experience, this really has to do everything with your procedure pages on your website. Now we're going into 2026, Tiffany. I'm going on my 15th year in marketing for aesthetics practices. I am still shocked when I find websites where they're grouping all this content within one page. They're talking about Botox and Juvederm and Sculptra and Daxify all on the same page, or even their lasers all on the same page. And I hear this from practice owners, well, patients don't want to go to the website to read all this information. I agree with you. They don't go there to your website to read. They go to there to make sure that you're the practice to go to. But if you're not filling gasoline into your car, it's hard for us to find you. So content is what makes your website go. So number one, have a one-to-one ratio. For every single service at your practice, you should have a dedicated page for that subject matter. Talk about all the common questions that you're being asked. Think about this. If I'm, say, coming into your practice for, say, GLP-1s or Morpheus or any other service, if I'm a 41-year-old man, you could probably anticipate a lot of the questions that I'm going to be asking you. Why? Because you're an expert at doing what you do. This is what you do day in and day out. Here's the secret. Before patients are asking you those questions in your room, that's what they're searching for. And the person that is searching in a question is further along within their discovery, they're more wanting to take action, they're more profitable, they're more ready to go, and guess what? They likely have a lot of referrals that they can also then send your way as well too. This is where your content can help to make you money. So again, this is all about showing your expertise. Lots of questions and answers on your procedure pages and making sure you have a one-to-one ratio for all of the subject matters or services at your practice. Expertise, this has a lot to do with your actual thought leadership within aesthetic medicine. Are you talking about your training? Are you talking about where you went to school? Are you talking about the affiliations that you might be a part of? Are you talking about the systems that you might use at your practice, like Aesthetic Record? All those help to make a search engine understand that you are integrated within aesthetics. If you just have a very kind of meek biography where you're just talking about, I've been dreaming about opening up my practice, and by the way, this is my husband Charlie and my 2 sons and my dog. Search engines don't care about that. It's all about really crafting your thought leadership, and are you really bragging about yourself within your biography? So listing out if you've been peer reviewed or if you've been published, if you've been in media, those are all great citations to be able to talk about so that way you can show that thought leadership. Authoritativeness. This has a lot to do with what we've just talked about, with consistency with listings, consistency with reviews, consistency with social media. All of these are peripheral factors that they don't necessarily touch your website per se, but they're so foundational to support everything else, right? So again, that's why we talk about developing that flywheel effect and how results tend to compound upon themselves the more that you're consistent with this. This is a big part of the A, which is what we call the authority factors. And then finally, the last part here is your trustworthiness. So this has a lot to do with your actual website's infrastructure. Tiffany, this is why we said earlier in the conversation, you should never have a Wix website. It is not a trustworthy platform. In addition to not being mobile responsive, one of the biggest factors that you need to have within your website, especially as a healthcare business, is ADA compliancy. Now, if you're hiring your neighbor's son who took some IT class in college to develop your website for you and think that that's good, you are exposing yourself to a potential litigation and lawsuit by not having the proper website structures in place. Let me explain. When we talk about ADA compliancy, this is what we're talking about right down here, this little guy that's right down here at the bottom. And is there an easy way where I can just click on this, and if this site was too bright for my eyes, can I darken the contrast? Or can I increase the text size? Not having this, folks, there are attorneys which are looking for very easy wins to litigate against. This is a very easy visual marker, particularly if you have a lot of great Google reviews and a lot of good volume. What that also means is that it translates into is that you're more of a larger target. So when I looked at websites like this, for example, or this one over here, or this one over here, none of these are meeting that ADA standard. So it's very much presenting a legal risk for them as well too. So this is where, again, trustworthy factors very much matter in terms of how your website has been constructed. Now, to wrap all this up, let me go back here to my search again. I had asked Google, who is the best Botox injector in Philadelphia? When we take the curtain back here, for example, look at what I've arrowed here. Factors to consider when choosing a Botox provider. And remember everything I just talked to you about: experience, expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. Qualifications and experience. Specialized training. Patient reviews and testimonials, before and after photos, cost and location. Everything here touches on EEA within that. This is not rocket science. This is literally the algorithm telling you how you should be deconstructing your strategy to match your practice for a lot of these AI searches. Now, one of the things I will tell you, Tiffany, is that this is not just about having good content on your website. This is also about having more robust and enriching your content on a continual basis. What we're doing for our practices now in today's age, whereas a general agency is doing maybe 1 or 2 blogs per month, we're doing anywhere from 3 to 6 new content additions to a website on a monthly basis. So what content is to a website is what, say, food is to a newborn baby. If you want your baby to grow and to mature, you need to be feeding that baby a bottle of milk every 2 hours. If you want your content optimization to really compete more within these new AI frameworks, you need to be constantly engaged with having a rich content strategy. If your practice is lacking time or effort, this is where working with a company like My Advice can really help you to fill some of those gaps. And by the way, these are hot off the press, new search results, search optimization results in terms of how our tactics are helping to drive not only just much more impressions for these 3 practices, but increasing more website traffic, and most importantly, as we look at the last column here, increasing lead flow because of these new, being much more rich with the content strategy. Practice number 1 had increased their leads by 234% over a 12-month period because of having a much more engaged content strategy. Practice number 2 increased leads by 127%. Practice number 3, increasing leads by over 400%. So again, this is why we talk about having systems in place. It's not just about having a sporadic marketing where I'm posting over here and expecting people to come in. Having a complete platform where it's really meant to help to drive performance results for your practice. We're almost at our time here. I feel like we've covered a lot
But I have
here.
one question. You know me, I got one more question. Where does the Google profile fit into this? Because I think people might think about websites and get really into that and their content, but then what about my Google My Business, we used to call it that, now it's a GBP, the Google Business page. What do we do with that? Anything at all?
Well, yeah, I mean, so we touched on like how you generate more reviews, right?
But just like information, I feel like if you don't have information on that page, I feel like it sort of cross-references it. You gotta have the same great stuff kind of everywhere for it all to work together.
100%. So what I'll tell you about the Google Business Profile is you want to be feeding it from a multitude of different angles. Now look, if you're short on time, or maybe if your practice is newer, consistent results. One of the things that I will say, in addition to driving more consistent reviews, we touched on that, how that's very, very important. If you take a look at Spa here, for example, if I go to their newest, you can see that when a review is aged less than 4 weeks, Google assigns it this new tag. So if I go here,
Look at all those great responses. It's wonderful.
look at all those great responses as well too. They must have some AI that's working for them. So engaging and having the recency of reviews is great. What I would also recommend though too, have complete detailed business information. Not only just your address that's on there, but talk about some of the services that you offer at your business. Talk about uploading like a few photos. You should be nurturing like add new photos to your Google Business Profile on a weekly basis as well too. I can't stand it when I see a Google Business Profile and it's like just a photo of like the parking lot.
and they auto-generate some of those for you, and I'm like, get that thing off of there.
Right. It's just
Terrible.
like, dear Lord, it's like, is that what we want to see? Or do we want to see the moment that we're coming in? Wow, like here's some really great looking staff and they're smiling and boy, the office looks beautiful. This looks like a place that cares about how they're coming across. And if they're doing that, that means that they're obviously going to take care of me as well too.
It looks fun and engaging. But yes, to your point, we're almost out of time, or maybe we are out of time. But if I'm doing some of these things today, not enough of them, I'm kind of caught in limbo of like, I keep doing things, I'm not moving forward, as we said in the very, very beginning. What are my options? How do we engage with My Advice? What do we expect from that relationship? Like, give me some ideas of, if I'm the person watching this saying, oh shit, I am this, I'm not doing enough, what do we do now?
Yeah, so as I said, it's developing, having a smart system in place to help you with growth. This is where we've seen so many big shifts and changes because of how AI is disrupting a lot of the online visibility landscape. If you are not managing through a system, you are losing revenue as we speak. So we're in Q4 right now, right? That practice that I was talking to about how like, oh, I have all these great systems in place. You know, they had their summer slump and like, while every practice in like, you know, June, July, August is like, oh, things are slow. They were humming along, super busy. It's because of what the investments that they were planting into their strategy now is paying out those dividends 2 or 3 quarters down the line. That's how you have to start to think about your growth strategy. So if you're watching this, we would love to be able to work with you. And if you're needing some guidance and help with where do I start or where do I begin? We've put together some amazing packages here exclusively for Aesthetic Record attendees as well as registrants. We're offering this through November 17th. And just to help you to understand, we charge nothing upfront to recreate a website for you. What we do is a website comes as a part of the ongoing system and the visibility that we're doing to help to drive that profitable growth and to compound the results of your marketing. We make it very, very simple. We have 3 great packages that we've prepared here for Aesthetic Record. We're offering this through the 17th. And by the way, if you also sign up by that time, we're also going to give you your first month on the house from us as well too. So it's being able to invest into your growth without having to pay anything out of pocket up front. So, would love to be able to work with you and to be able to meet with you. I have a QR code that's up here as well too. This is, I would encourage you, take out your phone, reserve your complimentary consultation with myself or one of our other My Advice associates. Let's talk about how we can help your practice to be better positioned as we head into 2026. And don't let more months go by without investing into your lead generation strategy. Because I will tell you, Tiffany, I'm going on, again, long time in this space. I have never seen as many big shifts and changes over the last 18 months in terms of digital marketing as I have, in my years of marketing as I have over the last 18 months. And so what we're finding is that the longer that practices stay in these positions where they're not addressing how AI is affecting their visibility and conversions, the harder it's going to stay to stay competitive in that space.
Agree, and I think as we heard earlier, if you did this today, within a week or 2, you will have some sort of a shift, right? If you get your listings together, you start thinking about reviews, even a little bit of effort, the small habits again that we said in the very first thing we mentioned, small habits, if you start this now, even in Q4, you'll see results. Like even in this Q4 timeframe, especially as people are looking for holiday places, holiday parties, this is even a time to start today, and you'll see some benefit in the next, 8 weeks until Christmas.
Well,
or
I'll
6
tell you
weeks?
what, we have a pretty rigorous onboarding process, but if our clients can commit to doing onboarding the way that we needed them to do, we can have a website live within 5 weeks. So it's not even too late to have a better working website performing for your practice before year end comes. So
And then January comes and you are off to the races.
Off to the
which
races.
is huge.
100%.
Well, we'll put the QR code. We have it here on the screen for you guys. Definitely snap that. We'll have it as well. If you need us and you can't find this, reach out to our team, even on our live chat on our website. We'll get that for you. This will be reposted as well, so you can watch it again. But I think it's such great information. If there's anything you can give us, your last parting words, if we had to pick one thing from all of this to just go all in, what is it? Put me on the spot.
Oh boy, go all in. Invest into yourself. Word of mouth is not a strategy. If you're buying that laser and investing into capital and you have no marketing plan to be able to think about that, guys, you're in retail medicine. I mean, as much as we say that, I mean, this is commodity. This is your cash business. It's having the right marketing system in place to be able to help with nurturing your growth. I know a lot of you probably started your practice because you were tired of working in a hospital or urgent care and you wanted to have more autonomy for yourself. That's great. I commend that. But without putting the right investments into your growth, it's not going to help to carry you into the next level in terms of where you're looking to be, to help to give you more of that financial freedom. So, of course, we would love to help be a part of that journey to help to set you up for success. And so, again, scan that QR code. We'd love to be able to meet with you one-on-one and help to position you for great success as we head into 2026.
Nothing is one and done. We know that. Well,
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on. I learned something every time you're here. I feel like I get better. We're doing our entire website based on some things that we've learned even from you in the last few of our webinars. So thank you for coming on. And for you guys at home, I hope you found this so impactful. I know I did. I think there's so many great things to do next. Number one is scan the QR code and get on a call and get the consultation to see if it's what you need. I think the systems part of it is just so compelling, and having someone think about this who knows all the answers and tell you, here's what you got to go do. Here's your plan. Just go do this. You'll be okay. I think it's so impactful for us. So thanks for coming on. For all of you at home, thanks for joining us tonight. And we'll see you guys next time, hopefully for some more awesome, impactful content. So with that, we'll sign off.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. Take care, all y'all.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.